So the Emunah Shlema brings down a story. There was a Baal Tshuva by the name of Ofer, that his father hated religion. Hated, Israeli family. Father hated religion. And one day, Ofer, after he finished the army, after he finished that, he was traveling the world. And he went and he decided, one day, something clicked in him, that he decided that he wanted to learn about Judaism. So he went to a rabbi and he says, I want to learn about Judaism. So the rabbi started learning with him. And the rabbi saw that this guy was a genius, like a mathematical, photographic memory type of genius. And he started learning with him. Within 2 months, this person who didn't keep Shabbat 2 months ago, finished entire Masechta and Gemara. Finished the Gemara and Megillah. And he wanted to go and make a siyum. He wanted to go and make a celebration that he finished a tractate of Gemara. And he calls up the rabbi, and he says, Rabbi, listen, I'm so happy that I was able to finish the Gemara from you. I want to make a siyum. I'm making it in my house, and I want to invite you. The rabbi was like, listen, I would love to come. He says, but I know your father. Your father hates religion. I helped you come closer to religion. Your father's going to murder me. He's going to kill me. What's going to happen is, and the son goes and says, listen, don't worry about it. I'll take care of that. You come, don't worry about my father. So, bless him. So he goes, and he goes and he says, fine, I'll come. He goes over and he walks into the siyum. And he's sitting by the siyum and he sees that the boy, Ofer, is sitting over there in the front by the head table. And next to him, there is an Israeli guy that looks like he belongs in the mafia. Shaven head, big guy, has a white paper kippah, stapled on it, one of those kotel kippot, stapled on his head, not stapled on his head, but it's on his head. And then next to him is a rabbi with a long white beard. And the rabbi's like, who is that guy? Who is that rabbi? And meanwhile, he's thinking about it, and Ofer stands up. And he's making the siyum. And he goes and he gives a very, very long speech about the Gemara, going back and forth. And the genius that he was able to go back and forth and bring this beautiful Dvar Torah. After he finished speaking, he made the siyum. Everyone said Mazal Tov. Then this rabbi with a long white beard stands up to give a speech. And he says that growing up, he grew up in Sanhedria, which is in Israel, a place in Israel. And he said that he had a brother 6 years older than him, who was a genius. And this brother went, and when he finished, elementary school, every high school were begging for him to come. He was so smart. His future was he was destined for greatness. And he got into a good yeshiva, but after a few years, by 12th grade, he started, drifting off. He met a few bad friends. He started drifting off, from the path. And, my parents went, and it's my brother, 6 years older than me. He went and they begged him, please come back to the path. But instead of coming back, he went further and further away until finally he left the house. And my parents always thought that he's going to come back because he's going to need money, he's going to need somewhere to stay, but he never came back. And my mother, this rabbi goes up and he says, I remember every Friday night when she would light the candles for 40 minutes. 40 minutes she would sit and cry for her son Yaakov to go and come back to religion. And she did this for none less than 18 years. 18 years every Friday night for 40 minutes she would cry for her son to come back to religion. But he never came back. He never came back for money. He never came back to sleep. He just never came back. 18 years later, she passes away. Then he goes and he says, my father went and he continued this tradition. He went and he did this for 7 additional years. Every Friday night, he would light the candles. And every Friday night, he would cry for 40 minutes, begging God that he should bring back his son Yaakov to go and come back to Judaism. And then he goes and he says, my father passed away. And he says, Yaakov never came, not to the funerals, not to the Shiva. He didn't, not for the Shloshim, nothing. And he says, today has been 30 years since since Yaakov left the house. And today I got a phone call from my long lost brother, Yaakov. And he says, listen, he says, I have a son, Ofer, he's making a siyum, I want you to come. So he says, I came to the siyum. And this is the siyum of my nephew. This is my brother Yaakov, and this is my nephew Ofer. And he says, I went and I timed his speech. I timed it, and it was exactly 40 minutes. And I remember always wondering, I'm like, I don't understand, God. My mother, for 18 years, she cried for 40 minutes every single week, 52 weeks a year. She went and she cried to bring her son, and she never saw that. My father did that for another 7 years after that, and he never saw that. What happened to all their cries? What happened to all their tears? What happened to all their prayers? Is it gone? And today I see the fruition of their answers. They didn't see it, but I see it today. I timed it, and it was exactly 40 minutes, the speech that Ophir gave, on the siyum for his Gemara in Megillah. And he goes, And the story continues that Ofer ended up becoming fully religious. He ended up learning in yeshiva full time. He ended up marrying a religious family, and he ended up bringing back his father also to religion.